Let's dive right into this explainer. We're going to unpack a world that has literally blown up overnight. Prediction markets. It's an industry that sprouted out of nowhere, minted incredibly young billionaires, and completely captivated the internet. But right beneath the surface of this new digital gold rush is a tangled web of legal loopholes, massive retail investor losses, and honestly, some pretty profound societal questions. So, let's get right into what's actually happening here. Will aliens land by 2027? Seriously? Now, you might think that's just a joke or some late-night internet meme stuff, but what if I told you people are dropping real hard cash on that exact question right this second? It's true. On platforms like Kalshi and Polymarket, you can legally wager on almost anything your brain can conjure up. We're talking about billions, with a B flooding into these sites. And, as we'll see today, these platforms are fundamentally rewiring how people interact with the news and the world entirely. Let's move into Section 1, betting on everything. How do they actually turn pop culture into a treatable asset? Well, it's not like the traditional stock market. You're not buying shares in Apple based on future earnings. You're buying a contract on a yes or no event. It's totally binary. If the event happens, you get paid out. If it doesn't, your investment goes straight to zero. It's a simple concept, but incredibly high stakes. When you consider the sheer absurdity of these contracts, it gets wild. Will Jesus return by 2027? What color is a politician's tie going to be? Will certain celebrities break up? Critics are arguing this has moved way past traditional finance. It's basically become a pop culture casino. You can literally bet on how many times a billionaire will tweet this month. It completely blurs the line between a financial exchange and pure, unadulterated entertainment. Which brings us to Section 2, the legal loophole. Now, you might be wondering, wait, how is this legal? Why aren't these regulated like standard online casinos? Well, it all hinges on one massive legal fight. Back in 2012, the CFTC, the federal agency regulating derivatives, was super strict, blocking election bets. But jump to 2023, and Kalshi actually sued them over the right to list congressional contracts. And they won. The judge ruled that betting on elections didn't technically constitute gaming. And that one technicality changed everything. They are now treated as financial derivatives under federal oversight, completely sidestepping state-level gambling laws. The states are absolutely furious about missing out on the casino tax revenue, of course, but the CFTC defended its jurisdiction. It created this fascinating, wild regulatory gray area that allowed the industry to explode basically overnight. Let's look at Section 3, Wisdom of the Crowds. But hey, the advocates of these platforms, they hate the casino label. They argue this is a revolutionary data tool for the public good. The idea is simple. If people are putting their own hard-earned money on the line, they strip away their biases. The market becomes this incredibly accurate forecasting engine, theoretically much better and less biased than traditional news polling. To put that into perspective, look at the historic Iowa electronic market. It actually beat out 900 traditional polls, getting closer to the real outcome a staggering 74% of the time. That's a massive stat. It really makes the case that when there's enough participation, collective buying and selling can act as a literal truth machine. Now for Section 4, the harsh reality. Sure, the data scientists might love the accuracy, but what about the regular folks trying to make a quick buck? It is a brutally different story for them. An independent analysis showed that an eye-watering 84% of Polymarket users realize net losses. Actually, out of millions of participants, only about 2% made more than $1,000 over their history. The vast majority of people logging on are simply watching their money vanish. And it gets even more concerning. The median return on these prediction markets is negative 8%. You're literally doing worse here than you would at a legal sports betting site, which sits around negative 5%. Despite how sophisticated these contracts sound, it's a total financial trap for the average retail user. Add to those losses the rampant issues of insider trading and market manipulation. I mean, we literally saw a trader rake in $300,000 betting on political pardons right before they were announced. We even had a comedian joke about forcing someone to say the word potato at the Grammys just to win a bet. You, the average investor, are stepping into an arena completely stacked against you by market-making institutions and users with insider information. Let's dive into Section 5, the gamification trap. So if the odds are that incredibly terrible, who are these platforms even targeting to reach billions in volume? Get this, 24% of Kalshi's users are under 25. Compare that to a traditional sports betting app like DraftKings, which is only at 7% for that age group. They are pulling in an incredibly young demographic, one that researchers know is super vulnerable to financial nihilism and gambling addiction. And how exactly are they hooking them? Through aggressive influencer campaigns, meme accounts pushing girl math, and juicy referral bonuses for getting your friends to bet. They dress these complex, highly risky derivatives up to look like a fun, guaranteed side hustle. They completely obscure the fact that 84% of players are walking away with less money than they started with. Let's take a step back and think about this observation from the economist Mark Carney. He pointed out that assigning a monetary value to something can actually erode its social value. Think about the famous daycare experiment. When they instituted a financial fine for parents picking up kids late, the guilt vanished and late pickups actually doubled. When you turn a social obligation into a simple financial transaction, the humanity of it kind of disappears. Which leaves us with one massive, critical question to ponder. If we successfully turn every single human event, our tragedies, global conflicts, celebrity breakups, into a tradable asset, are we building a smarter market or just a much more cynical world? Yes, prediction markets might offer fascinating data, but critics are right to warn that viewing life purely through the lens of a quick profit could seriously erode our social fabric. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this helped you unpack the reality behind the hype.